Hi, this is Abhimanyu. I'm in conversation with Shruti Haasan. Shruti, how are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you, Abhimanyu. I like the Buddha behind your head.
Oh, thank you. I especially created this scene to chat to people like you. Stars always
How
have
lovely.
amazing
Thank you. I
backgrounds, so I thought
appreciate
I should
it.
have you. How are you doing today? First of all, I love the trailer. What drew you to the character, to the show?
Thank you. I really loved when I got the script, I really loved the character of Neetu. This is a new space for me. This is the first time I'd done a little bit before, but like in a shorter format, like one episodic. So I was really excited to enter this space, but I was very clear that it would have to be, driven by the female, and it should have that motivation where you're not just, a visitor in the story, and really the gatekeeper of what the story is. And I found that in bestseller, and I very much found that all of the characters were interesting, and she was mounted and supported and led through the stories of the other characters so beautifully that it
Right.
was to me just basically a very interesting read. I love reading good stories. Like I'm not saying just as a script, but I'm a
Right.
reader. I love reading good stories. So I got that energy. I couldn't really put it down, which is a good sign because I have ADD, I think. So, it was amazing.
That's great. And some people have asked or written, which I found little, I won't say stupid, but a little foolish, is that, oh, how is Shruti Hassan gonna play a small town girl? I said, but that's an actor's job, right? To do something they are not. So do you relish that challenge of playing against type?
I think that's my whole career, to be honest with you, Abhimanyu. Like my biggest hit in Telugu is Gabbar Singh, which was me
Right.
playing a village girl. Is in Hindi Ramaya Vastavaya, and a D-Day where I've played a prostitute and then a village virgin in the same year.
Right.
So I think that and I really find this question interesting. I don't find it silly because I think that people, especially in the age of social media, it shows you how much how much none of us are village girls. None of us
Right.
playing village girls are village girls. But I think some
Right.
of us look a little more outside of the village, and which is fair.
Right.
It's the
Yeah.
way we project ourselves off of character. And having said that, I've never ever played a character that's anything like me. So that's my job, as you said.
Right. So that's why you take up varied characters, right? Otherwise, it's just playing the same role year after year, which nobody wants to do, right?
I think I've done like 30 plus films. I think apart from two or three that I can count off, like in each language, two or three, uh, none of them have been city based girls, weirdly. They've not
Wow.
been urban. And even when they're urban, they're very traditional or conservative. Yeah.
I think people don't relate your Instagram vibe to the work on screen. They should totally separate that because that's not who you are as an actor. That's completely
Well,
different from
it's
the
a
work
good
you put out.
experiment, isn't it, Abhimanyu? It's a
Yeah,
really,
it
for
is.
me, it's a good social experiment
It
almost.
is. It is. It's a thriller, and thrillers today are dime a dozen, particularly on OTT. How do you maintain that freshness, so as to speak?
I think by having a good story, thrillers, I think that like for an actor, the hardest genre is comedy. And I think for a writer, the hardest genre is thriller. I think our writers have done a fabulous, fabulous job. Um, because like I said, not being biased because I'm in the show, I really enjoyed reading it. It was a fun
Yeah.
read. I love thrillers. So I really found it to have the energy of a thriller. And people confuse things, Abhimanyu. They feel like if it's a thriller, you should be in a rush, but it's actually the opposite. The more you
Yeah. Yeah.
invest in your characters, the more invested you are in the things that happen to them. And I think bestseller has that quality.
Like Alfred Hitchcock used to say, there's more terror in the anticipation of the bang than the actual thing.
Yeah,
So when you slow pace it, that's what gets me
yeah,
always. you've,
yeah.
you've
When you're
talked about your
invested in their
yeah.
stories. Yeah.
Exactly. You've talked about your career and how you have played such varied roles. And one thing I keep coming back to, and even you find it a little amusing, judging by your previous Instagram story, is that having done 15 years, so many films up north, people still come up to you and ask you Hindi to bol legi. Isn't that getting funny now?
Thank you, Abhimanyu. In fact, there are people I currently work with even who have that question after I respond to them in Hindi. And there's also So I never really find this in, say, America, which has someone from New York or someone from Georgia who has like a southern accent, you know. Or British actors playing American. No one's asking, can you speak American English? Sure, Idris Elba's American accent is suspect at best, but he's made. Do you know what I mean? Like,
He
it's just
makes
a
up
part
for
of
it in
who we are.
that.
Yeah, I do find that there are microaggressions that I face even outside of just aap Hindi bol payenge kya, you know, which I find hilarious because I grew up speaking Hindi. Telugu is the language I never spoke. I get my dialogues, and no one has once questioned me if I can speak Telugu. Like, Telugu to me was as good as learning French. It was a completely new language. So there is that South ka, as the South ka, you know, and it's honestly, I think we've come to a day and age where it's just irrelevant, and I like to call it out because I'm a proud Tamil girl, but I'm an actor first. And above all, I'm an Indian. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Coming to you, you have a family of performers. I won't even call actors because you all are so talented in every field that I can't even bracket you in one thing. So when you just sit down together, do you actually discuss work, or is work never at home? Do you discuss projects that you get? Do you discuss the work you're getting, or is it just kept away from home? How is it?
I think if it's a natural thing that comes up, we like with my dad, I'd rather discuss his work because there's much more for me to learn from that. Do you know? But we don't actually. We discuss the films we see. The last time I visited Chennai, I got to see my dad on set after so long, which was lovely. And we went home and then we just watched documentaries. We both absolutely were such geeks. We love documentaries. So we saw a fantastic documentary, and then we talk about filmmaking and technology and storytelling, but never about the business. It's about the art.
Yeah. It's about the art, right? Because at heart you're performers, right? You're not business people. You are.
No, we're very bad at it at best. So.
No comments on that. No, but you're actually. I think art and business need to be separated. Otherwise, they get muddled. Otherwise, the art is not as pure, I suppose.
I think art and business are an arranged marriage. Yeah.
How scary or important is your father's feedback on your work?
It's not scary because we agree to disagree a lot of the times because there are some practical things, especially with the gender difference. There's been times his advice has been, you should do this. And I'm like, no, I'm a woman. Things work differently for us, and I hate having to say that because he's never brought me up like that. So his questions are still very much related to being egalitarian in terms of gender, and he's very astute in how to give criticism. I think being a sensitive artist himself, I'm not scared of it because he's never just taken a giant poo on me, if you know what I mean. He's been very astute about how to put it across, not just to me, but to everybody. He'll say it very factually and practically. And this is something I always say, I love constructive criticism. But opinion with no backbone is something none of us should be interested in. And he is the king of constructive criticism. I've taken a lot of his advice on board.
And I'll wrap it up by asking you one final question. Why are you working on Valentine's Day? I mean, they should give you an off. Why are you working on Valentine's Day?
Valentine's Day is literally the most overrated thing ever, in my opinion. I don't mean to dissuade those who celebrate it with furor, but I'm just not them. I'm so happy to be working on Valentine's Day. And in school, it was so traumatic for me because I never got a Valentine's proposal or card.
Come on,
guys would walk up to me. No. Guys would walk up to me and be like, Shruti, and I'd be like, yes. And they'd be like, come, let's play cricket, Machan. I'd be like, oh, okay, cool. So, that's my memories.
Lovely talking to you, Shruti. Looking forward to the show and looking forward to whatever you do next. We'll chat again.
Thank you so much. Bye.